Hey guys, I'm Steve, and I'm going to describe how I built my squat rack out of 4x4s. All in all, the material for just the rack cost me $200. The pulley system cost me an additional probably $75, something like that. So I'd say for this entire rack it was about $275 to $300, which compared to your typical racks is a really good deal. On these J-hooks, I've had 455 pounds for a squat, and it held up just fine. I didn't hear any cracks, nothing like that. So tools, you're going to need a power saw, a drill, a spade bit, which is a bit like this, size 1.25 inches. I would suggest getting one that isn't threaded at the top. If it's threaded, then it's just going to bind in the wood. And you're going to need an 1/8 inch drill bit to drill your pilot holes in your wood, a tape measure, and a flat 90 to make sure that everything is leveled out, or just a regular level. For your rack, as far as material goes, you're going to need 8 4x4s of untreated wood. Treated wood is just softer. You're going to need 10 of these Simpson 3x5 flat ties, and you're going to need 12 90s 2x3x3, and that's the material that you need for the rack itself. For the safeties, you're going to need 2 60-inch 3/4 pieces of black iron, as well as 2 3/4 caps for the black iron. And if you want to add the pull-up bar, then you're going to need one more 60-inch piece of 3/4, as well as 2 caps, one here, and there's one on the opposite side to keep it held in place. Lastly, for the J-hooks. For one set of J-hooks, you'll need an 8-inch pipe. You can use a 6-inch if you wanted. I went with the 8 just because it sticks out more. So 2 8-inch pipes, same thing, 3/4, 2 3/4 90s, and if you look on the back, there are 3/4 floor flanges that I screwed into the back. If you want another set of J-hooks, then you're just going to need to double up on those. For the high and low pulley system, you're going to need 3 ceiling or wall-mounted pulleys, 4 eyelets, 12 U-bolts, 10 feet of 3/16 plastic-coated wire, and 4 carabiners. As far as assembling your rack, the first thing you're going to do, you're going to lay out 4 of the 4x4s. Make sure that they're all squared off on the top. Use your square. Make sure that they're all level. You can lay them down on the floor or stand them up. It's just very important that they're all even with each other. And what I did first is I marked my holes. So I started at the top. I measured down 2 feet from the top and 18 inches from the bottom. And I made one mark, 18 from the bottom, one mark, 24 from the top. And then from there, I measured 4 1/4 and made a mark all the way down. And this gave me 12 holes on each post for a total of 48 holes that I would have to drill. If you want to add the chin-up bar, then that would be 50 holes that you would have to drill, because the chin-up bar is on the inside of the front 2 posts. You're going to take your level and go across every line, and you're going to measure across 1 3/4 inch. That'll be right in the center of every hole. This you have to go through every single hole and mark on the line where the center is. After you do that, you're going to bore out all 48 holes, 12 in each post. Again, it'll be 50 if you want the pull-up bar. Side note, if you do want to do the pull-up bar, I measured down 1 foot, and it works out for me. It holds me just fine. And then once all of your holes are drilled, you're going to take 2 4x4s and you're going to cut them straight in half. They'll be cut at 48 inches. That'll be for the bottoms here and the bottom on this side, and the tops here and here of the frame. Then you're going to take your other 2 4x4s and you're going to cut them at 46 inches going across. The reason that you're going to cut them at 46 inches is because your typical barbell is 52 in between, and you want to have a decent amount of space when you rack your bar so that it doesn't hit the wood post. So again, 46, 46, 46, and then these 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all going to be 48. So you'll be left over with one piece of the 4x4 that should be, I guess, 50 inches. You're going to measure 8 inches on that 4x4 and cut your 45s like I have here and here. Same on this side, here and here. So what I did was I cut one 45 on the end, measured 8 inches down, cut my second 45. Then I flipped this over onto the piece of existing wood, of the longer piece, marked it, cut it, marked it again, cut it, marked it again, cut it, and then I had 4 equal 45s for my base. For the top, I did it differently. I just cut straight 45s off of that same existing piece of wood. Here, 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 and here. Once you have all those pieces ready, you'll be good to assemble your rack. Okay, so the way I assembled my rack, I built my frames first for the outside. So what I did was I laid these 2 posts down on the floor and put my bottom piece in between, and I screwed on my flat ties here and here. Did the same thing with the top with the flat ties here and here, and then I screwed my 45s on the bottom here and here. You're going to repeat the same step for the other side of your rack. Just make sure that if you are doing the pull-up bar in the middle, you have these 2 on the same side. Once you have your 2 frames in place, you're going to start with the bottom. Take one 46-inch piece, and you're going to take your Simpson 90s. I have one here, one here, one here, and one here for a total of 4. And you're going to screw them in to the top, or the top of the bottom of the frame. Tighten these completely. You're going to follow the same steps with the top of the frame, except I have my 90s here and here, as well as my 45 here and here. When you assemble this piece on here, you can put these 90s on. Make sure that they're nice and tight on the frame. And then you're going to come over to the front of your rack. Same thing. Make sure it's all squared off on the top. Throw your 90s on here and here. Something actually that I did that made it a little bit easier is I put my 90s, my Simpson 90s on when they were down and it was on the floor, and then I just lifted up the 46-inch piece, and I had it resting on my shoulder. That way I was able to screw in the bottoms and level it out. And then when you do that, you can also add your 45s here and here. Okay, so for the safeties, I just used a 60-inch piece of 3/4 pipe with an end cap, just on the one side. That way you can still slide it out, slide it right back in. Same on the other side. If you're using the pull-up bar, like I said before, you're going to need 2 end caps so you can slide it back and forth and it doesn't come out. What I did was I put my pipe all the way through, screwed it in tight, and then I screwed this directly onto the back. The floor flange, of course, this is going to be custom to me. You don't have to screw it in. I just personally found that when I went to rack the bar, I would hit into the hook and then 90 would go straight into here. Obviously, if you have a heavy load, that'll be problematic. So I made sure that I screwed it in here. And then what I did was I put a pipe inside the 90 and tightened it all around. This thing isn't going anywhere. Did the same thing with the top, 2 J hooks. Now, if you want to add a pulley system, like I did, I got these pulleys. They're 2-inch ceiling mounted or wall mounted pulleys. I found that these work a lot better than these pulleys. This is what I had on originally. The weight would just move around too much. It was very uncomfortable. So these are, I want to say they're the same price, $5.50. Put one here and one here. That way I can do my high tricep work or lat pull downs. Overall, this project took 6-7 hours to complete, which really isn't a lot of time when you're quarantined. And I wanted to say thank you to Josh for all the training and programming help. I hope that everyone right now is staying healthy and jailhouse strong.